Welcome to A Year of War and Peace. I'm your host, Brian E. Denton. A Year of War and Peace is a daily, year-long, chapter-by-chapter reading of and meditation on Leo Tolstoy's epic novel, War and Peace. In these videos and podcasts, you'll be treated to a free reading of one chapter per day of the novel, plus a reflective essay I've written individually tailored to that day's chapter. These readings are offered for free, though if you'd like to support me, you can do so in one of three ways. First, you could purchase my ebook, A Year of War and Peace. It features the entire novel, plus all of my reflective essays, and it's only $2.99 on Amazon.com. You could also become a patron at patreon.com/Brian E. Denton. If you sign up there, you'll receive a sonnet once a month, plus a link to an ebook of my collected sonnets. Finally, if you like, you can make a one-time donation to my PayPal account. The email there is brianedenton@gmail.com. You can also use that email to contact me. I'd be happy to hear from you. Your support is greatly appreciated. Today's reading and reflection is from chapter 332. Chapter 332. There was nothing in Pierre's soul now at all like what had troubled it during his courtship of Helene. He did not repeat to himself with a sickening feeling of shame the words he had spoken of, or say, "Oh, why did I say that?" or "Why didn't I say this?" and whatever made me say, "J'avoue ami." On the contrary, he now repeated in imagination every word that he or Natasha had spoken and pictured every detail of her face and smile, and did not wish to diminish or add anything, but only to repeat it again and again. There was now not a shadow of doubt in his mind as to whether what he had undertaken was right or wrong. Only one terrible doubt sometimes crossed his mind. Wasn't it all a dream? Isn't Princess Mary mistaken? Am I not too conceited and self-confident? I believe all this, and suddenly Princess Mary will tell her, and she will be sure to smile and say, "How strange! He must be deluding himself. Doesn't he know that he is a man, just a man, while I am something altogether different and higher." That was the only doubt often troubling Pierre. He did not now make any plans. The happiness before him appeared to be so inconceivable that if only he could attain it, it would be the end of all things. Everything ended with that. A joyful, unexpected frenzy, of which he had thought himself incapable, possessed him. The whole meaning of life, not for him alone, but for the whole world, seemed to him centered in his love and the possibility of being loved by her. At times, everybody seemed to him to be occupied with one thing only, his future happiness. Sometimes it seemed to him that other people were all as pleased as he was himself, and merely tried to hide that pleasure by pretending to be busy with other interests. In every word and gesture he saw allusions to his happiness. He often surprised those he met by his significantly happy looks and smiles, which seemed to express a secret understanding between him and them. And when he realized that people might not be aware of his happiness, he pitied them with his whole heart, and felt a desire somehow to explain to them that all that occupied them was a mere frivolous trifle unworthy of attention. When it was suggested to him that he should enter the civil service, or when the war or any general political affairs were discussed on the assumption that everybody's welfare depended on this or that issue of events, he would listen with a mild and pitying smile and surprise people by his strange comments. But at this time he saw everybody, both those who, as he imagined, understood the real meaning of life, that is, what he was feeling, and those unfortunates who evidently did not understand it, in the bright light of the emotion that shone within him, and at once, without any effort, saw in everyone he met everything that was good and worthy of being loved. When dealing with the affairs and papers of his dead wife, her memory aroused in him no feeling but pity, that she had not known the bliss that he now knew. Prince Vasily, who, having obtained a new post and some fresh decorations, was particularly proud at this time, seemed to him a pathetic, kindly old man, much to be pitied. Often in afterlife, Pierre recalled this period of blissful insanity. All the views he formed of all men and circumstances at this time remained true for him, as always. He not only did not renounce them subsequently, but when he was in doubt or inwardly at variance, he referred to the views he had held at this time of his madness, and they always proved correct. I may have appeared strange and queer then, he thought, but I was not so mad as I seemed. On the contrary, I was then wiser and had more insight than at any other time, and understood all that is worth understanding in life because I was happy. Pierre's insanity consisted in not waiting, as he used to discover personal attributes which he termed good qualities in people before loving them. His heart was now overflowing with love, and by loving people without cause, he discovered indubitable causes for loving them. All right, that concludes my reading of chapter 332. I will now proceed to my reflection on the same. A Year of War and Peace, day 332. Eudaimonia. Joy. Pierre has it. The manifold blessings of its light bathe him in their splendor. Though the immediate reason for Pierre's profound new happiness is his romantic relationship with Natasha, hardly a traditional Stoic route to contentment, the proximate cause is actually his application of the principles of that happy philosophy. In his relationship with Natasha, Pierre practices the central Stoic dictum that there are things within our control and things without our control, and we should concern ourselves only with those things within our control, leaving those things without our control to fortune. Tolstoy presents this by contrasting Pierre's relationship to Natasha with his relationship to Helene. Quote, "There was nothing in Pierre's soul now at all like what had troubled it during his courtship of Helene. He did not repeat to himself with a sickening feeling of shame the words he had spoken, or say, 'Oh, why did I not say that?' and whatever made me say, 'Je vous aime.' On the contrary, he now repeated in imagination every word that he or Natasha had spoken, and pictured every detail of her face and smile, and did not wish to diminish or add anything, but only to repeat it again and again." End quote. In addition to Pierre's understanding and practice of the dichotomy of control, he also adopts the creed of cosmopolitanism. Quote, "But at this time he saw everybody, both those who, as he imagined, understood the real meaning of life, that is, what he was feeling, and those unfortunates who evidently did not understand it, in the bright light of the emotions that shone within himself, and at once, without any effort, saw in everyone he met everything that was good and worthy of being loved." End quote. Finally, and this may be the most important point, Pierre dedicates himself to centering love. He feels and lives the essential truth of the brotherhood of man. Quote, "Pierre's insanity consisted in not waiting, as he used to do, to discover personal attributes which he termed good qualities in people before loving them. His heart was now overflowing with love, and by loving people without cause, he discovered indubitable causes for loving them." End quote. Throughout these readings, we've often focused on how our characters get things wrong. Their mistakes provide for dynamic, interesting reading, sure, but also for great personal suffering. It's nice to see one of them, by means of the practical application of wisdom, finally get it right. Good on you, Pierre. Daily meditation. Reflect therefore on this, that the effect of wisdom is a joy that is unbroken and continuous. The mind of the wise man is like the ultra-lunar firmament. Eternal calm pervades that region. You have then a reason for wishing to be wise, if the wise man is never deprived of joy. This joy springs only from the knowledge that you possess the virtues. None but the brave, the just, the self-restrained can rejoice. Seneca, Letters from a Stoic. All right, that concludes my reading of and reflection on chapter 332 of War and Peace. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for listening. Remember that if you'd like to support me, you can do so either by purchasing the ebook Year of War and Peace, becoming a patron at patreon.com, or making a one-time donation at PayPal. Links to all that are down below in the show notes or the description, alongside my wish list on Amazon for books and movies. If you decide to purchase me a book or a movie, we'll set up a Zoom call to discuss that book or the movie, and I look forward to doing that. Remember that tomorrow we're going to be reading and reflecting on chapter 333 of War and Peace. I hope you'll join me. Until then, take care of yourselves and others.